A very good morning, everyone. Almost coming to the end of winter already, but we're still experiencing the winter chills, isn't it? Nevertheless, glad to be in this nice warm building with everyone here present this morning. And as we continue our series of personal evangelism, once again, I'd like to give credit to Brother Peter Chin, who has shared with me this lesson and it kind of just using his pointers to also share with everyone today. So I think before we even go into today's topic about the methods of personal evangelism, and as usual, I'd like to be an interactive session. So I'd like to ask this very simple question to everyone. How do you get to know about the church? So I will get everyone to share very quickly. How do you get to know about the church? We can start from this side first. Adam, how do you get to know about the church? Yep. Stephen? Yeah, your family? Let me just keep going out. Family? Yeah. Okay, cool. How about I let Ruth settle in? How about people at the back? Mm-hmm. 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 Coming first? Yep. Oh, thank you. Thanks, interesting to know. Yep. How do you get to know the church? From family friend. Yep. From your family. How do you get to know the church? Okay. And, mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, awesome. All right, cool. Right. I'll go to this side at the back. Oh, cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. But I'm in church. Ah, yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. What make? Okay. Mm-hmm.
I got to know him a long way around. That was my husband, and his family is very anti-Christian. And Jerry and his wife Karen, she passed away. She said, "I'd love to see you baptised." And I thought, "What are you talking about?" I am. And they brought up Catholics. And when she passed away, Jerry thumbed in my ear time after time after time. And so I went to listen to one of his sermons and got baptised and ended up in this church.
Thank you. All right, cool. Like, go in front. Come in church. James Williams. Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah. Me? You don't know? Okay, fine then. Fair enough. Right, next, this side. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your family? Okay. And this behind? Alvin naming it? Right on church. Neighbor? And wife. Yep. And then the last. But on church, correct. So you can kind of really, anybody, oh, and Leslie, sorry. And also, yeah, sorry. Soon, yeah, very soon. And Ruben and Brother Church and Ruben? Sunday school church. Yeah, okay, cool. So thanks for sharing, everybody. So you can really see, and this kind of really brings to light what I'm about to give examples in, because I was also trying to see, how people get to know about the church. For myself, also because of my mom who brought me to the church. So interesting, and this is no surprise to everyone. I kind of searched around, why is it like for people around the world to get to know about the church? So even though this is not really the Church of Christ per se, but this is some data that I found on the internet. So first one was done by a United Methodist Church in US in 2009, surveyed 141 churches with 8,000 of worshippers. So not unsurprising, most of them got to know about the church through someone they already knew. Whether it's family, friends, which 99% of us or 98% of us got to know about the church through that way. Then, of course, some noticed about the church building as they passed by, grew up in the church and stuff like that. And this was done in the US. I tried to find something locally in Australia. So once again, it's a denom organization, but gives the same context. So this was done by the Australian Community Survey in 2021. They surveyed about close to 1,200 over people in 2022. And unsurprisingly, one of the questions is, will you go to a Christian church service if invited by close friends? 31% actually say yes, and 16% is unsure. So you can really kind of see, that it's so powerful and tying back, to this topic of personal evangelism. We are probably the best tool to share the gospel. Even though we may or may not be confident on it, that's not whatever. But facts, survey, and through our own personal experience tells us most of us get to know about the church through someone we know. And that's generally how we get to know. Of course, we have other cases where people evangelize doorstep, that's fine. But most of us was taught about the church through someone we know. And that's why it's so important, as we reminded in Ephesians 4 verse 16. This Bible states that from whom the whole body joined and knit together by what every joint supplies, according to the effective working by which every part does its share, causes growth of the body for the edifying of itself in love. The responsibility is on us to grow the body. And to do so, we have to do our part. We have to work to make sure that the body grows. And that also includes expanding the body by adding new members to the body. And we have our part to play. So today I'll be kind of sharing some of the more practical methods that Brother Peter has shared on how we can then start doing that personal evangelism. We did speak about, some of the indirect ways, which kind of just summarize briefly. You can make people for church services, church programs, sharing messaging on social media if you want to, or just being an example as we go about day to day. So we have covered that in previous lessons. I won't go into too much detail. But today is more of giving you a bit of confidence and a bit of guidance and tips on how can we start to, we ourselves, start sharing the gospel. And there are many means we can do so. So I'll suggest some of them which Brother Peter Chin has mentioned. And I'll kind of just go through some of the pros and cons of each method. And feel free to use any of these methods to start, doing something small. Doesn't have to be anything too big, but you can do that. So similarly, these are some of the direct ways we can evangelize and the methods that we're talking about. So first of all, could be Bible correspondence courses. So just a quick question. Anybody has done a Bible correspondence course before? Some, yes, a few. What do you think? How do you think it's like? Good? Not so good? Okay, kind of. No? Great? Okay, yeah, great. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, so using in that same concept and same manner, we can use this also as a tool to teach others as well. So I will kind of go through the strengths and limitations of each method and feel free to use what works for you and your prospect. So for a strength of Bible correspondence course is such that it's a printed material, can give it out easily to anyone that you meet. And because it's kind of study at your own pace, so giving the option and the freedom from the prospect to kind of just learn accordingly. So that's kind of the strength of this method. But of course, some limitations would be you need someone to mark the answers. Someone has to do that part of work. And of course, most important thing is possibly need to maintain interest to complete the course. If not, then it's kind of not as effective. So I'll just, we've probably seen some of these courses before. The John M. Hurt with 8-part series, which is quite good series to use. It covers quite a few big topics. They are not overly detailed, but enough information. So it kind of good as a good beginner and a good material to use to kind of then share with. Yes, Alvin. That's correct. That's correct. And I will share an example as well, but yes, correct. So there are actually congregations that actually have that as a medium to evangelize. So they actually have teachers at the background, marking and stuff like that. So it kind of facilitates that process too. But this is a good series. I think some of us has done it before. It's good basic knowledge of the key topics that someone needs to know about the faith. So you can use that. And for those who are a bit more advanced, you can use Fundamentals of Faith. It's more detailed, but it goes through more thoroughly. So there are many others. There's also even some basic one, what we call, I think there's a Wendell K. Freeman one, which is 25, but it's very, very simple. So that could be used for people who have really no understanding of the Bible, or even for younger kids as well. So there are many different courses available. Alvin knows some of these materials. I know some of these materials. You can use this as a potential means to start the way of evangelizing. So using this material and as a talking point and for the prospect to just self-guide and self-learn. So this could be one method to do so. So this is first one, Bible correspondence courses. Right? And of course, another way we could do it is by, before that, as Alvin mentioned, we actually can go to what we call a World Bible School online. They actually can refer people to actually sign up, do their own course, and then they will be marked. And then, so you don't have to do the work. Just direct people to sign up online, then people will mark at the background. So this could be another means we could do so as well. Okay, cool. All right, so now moving on to the next potential method is by tracts. So I think we used to have a tract read somewhere. Probably have to get a tract read. Anyway, we do have quite a few tracts we actually can give out to prospects if we ever want to. So the strength is, once again, it's printed material, can distribute easily, and it's a very quick read. So it's a very good bite size. So based on what the interest of the prospect is, can then give it out and then start that conversation from there. But of course, the limitation would be is that you need to know what tract to give out. And they might not be, they're actually quite limited in scope. So it probably require further Bible study after the initial tract giving process. There's so many tracts out there. There's so many different topics. These are some of the ideas, depend on what it is. So you have to find the correct tract for the correct topic and then give it, hey, and this is also good for those who do not have confidence in sharing the gospel from the Bible straight away. Let the tract do the teaching and then start the conversation from there. They can say, hey, you have interest in about sin. This is a tract about it. Have a read and let me know what you think. And after that, then you can then, oh, do you want to then have a Bible study? Of course, you don't have to do that. You can get someone from the church to then organize that. So that could be one way to start opening the door to the prospect. And of course, there are other tracks, like what must I do to be safe and things like that. So there are many tracks. I think they're all kept in those two rooms. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Correct. 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 Mm. Correct. Mm-hmm. Yep. As a door. Exactly correct. Exactly correct. Yes.
Tell me exactly what tracks mean.
Sorry?
Tell me what tracks mean.
Tracks is like a printed material. So it's like I wouldn't call it a brochure, but it's just like a quick read, kind of a 1-2 pager kind of a paper, essentially. Yeah. You're welcome. Yes, thank you. Yeah. All right, cool. Any questions or thoughts about track? Has anybody done this to start a conversation with your friends and prospects around you? Maybe not. That is all right. You don't have to, but it's just an option.
As a church.
Yep.
Church has actually given out tracts every month or whole year for 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
We actually do tracts with our invitation and back.
Mm-hmm.
Free postage for people to send back
Mm.
if they want. We've done it for years.
Mm-hmm.
And every family takes back about 500 or 1,000 to even distribute among their own.
Mm.
So we have done that for
Mm.
the result.
Mm.
I mean, we do get people come,
Mm-hmm.
but none that has actually stayed.
Mm.
Right? I think the only person that we have got from walking around is, if I am not mistaken, I can stand corrected, is one family. Actually,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's really up to you to, your prospect, your family members, and community around you. This could be just a door to start the conversation. That's all what it is. So these are just many different ways. Of course, this is not the only way. You need to supplement with many other supports so they can then start showing the Bibles, start teaching the word from there. But this is just step one in opening up the door to your prospect that you're teaching. All right, cool. So we will make use of any way that is appropriate for the context and for the person. And you never know if someone, just hypothetically, given a track 10 years ago, the person was cleaning up house, found his track, that could be another opportunity as well. Who knows? God works in ways that we can't understand. Let God do his work. We just need to do our part. Okay, good. But thank you for your sharing. I will go on because there are quite a few more, but keep this conversation going and we can continue to explore more ideas to do so. And also something that interesting that Brother Peter Chin actually taught me to use this method as well. So we call charts. So charts are basically one-pager kind of a document where it kind of gives you a quick read of different topics that are available. Of course, the limitation is you need to know what chart to use. So you can actually go to this, what you call BibleCharts.org. So there's a lot of charts that can be used to be a talking point and discussion point with your prospect. I will share some examples right now on the screen. They have reformatted the way they group the charts. So they group now by categories. So the categories that more related to personal work will be personal work, Bible, Christ, church, cross of Christ and Godhead. There are many others, but these are some, and I'll show you what it looks like. If you search personal work, they give you a whole range of 1 to 2 pager kind of a document, can then use as a teaching point and talking point to the prospect. I'll show you how it looks like. So you can things like, for those who are more savvy, can search Google search. They can type the topic from Barnes Bible Charts. Then it looks like that. You can see the small little. I'll show a bigger example, right? So things like introduction to the Bible gives you the topics, the talking points, and the verses. So this could be a quick way to then start the conversation based on what topic interests the prospect. Bible as only authority, things like that. And, prophecies about Jesus, how many churches are there, how the Church of Christ exists today. There's so many different types, about denominations, when they start, who's the founder. There are many, 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 many resources like that. And as we go into, 2 weeks' time, as we go to the actual study, I will use this as a potential means to how do we then structure our one-to-one Bible study. But this could be used as we present to the prospect, hey, this is what it is. And then you start teaching and start talking. So there's a lot in there in this BibleCharts.org. A lot of them, and very useful to use if you wish to use this method. And there are many others as well. How it contradicts the Bible and stuff like that. And examples of conversion, plan of salvation. There's a lot of materials in there. It's visual. There are verses there, there are points there. It's good reference and good, quick talking point. All right. Yes, correct. Exactly correct. Yeah, sure, absolutely. But then again, because it depends on which part of the process the prospect is in. So it's generally better if individually we know what we want to talk about. Use this as a means. Okay, we have this. Let's talk about this and see what you think. So these are already ready to go materials. You can use visually also a bit. Of course, a bit dated, but it's still a good sense of approach. So then talk about many, many different things. Right? So I'll share more about this when we go into the actual study. I'll use this as an example. How can we structure our one-to-one sharing with them? Right? But just keep in mind, this could be a good resource to use. All right? Cool. All right, cool. So now move on. And for those now who wants to use this, you can use videos as well. So videos is, of course, is guided lesson in video format. It's self-explanatory and able to post link on social media. So you can broadcast it quite quickly. Of course, limitations, you need to study further in different topics based on the perfect understanding, and of course, need internet connection and electronic device. All right, so I'm pretty sure all of us are quite familiar with the World Video Bible School. So they have a lot of materials up there. There are a series of lessons you can use as a talking point with your prospect. And you can just look through the video together. Then you can create questions to ask, what do you think about this? Then let the prospect then share what the prospect thinks. So think about proof of God, existence of God. That could be a series of videos you could use go through, and then you can have that discussion with your prospect. So let the video do the teaching and talking. You just be there to prompt and create the need and interest, and then continue on their Bible study. So this could be one way you could do it. And even in World Video Bible School itself, there's also a series called Searching for Truth. This is more targeted towards evangelism perspective. So there's 6 topics as and seen up there. Covers the big topics. Then it could be a way you could also share the gospel as well. All right. So this is available online in World Video Bible School. Play the video, let it go through the thing, and then have the discussion. Okay. Any comments? There are many others. There's so many different bite-sized topics and videos. There's a lot out there. So just look through World Video Bible School. There's a lot in there. And there are sound material. We know they're from Sound Brethren. Use them to have that conversation started. Right? Cool. All right, cool. Next. Now I go on to some other methods which some of us have used before in the past. There's something what we call open Bible study. It's like a track, like a written copy version. So the strength is for this series of kind of Bible study, it refers to the Bible, and you get a prospect to then answer the question based on the verse itself. So it removes all argument from the study because it's using the Bible to teach. And then it's very short. It begins with the authority of the Bible, and the teacher doesn't need to have great Bible knowledge because it lets the Bible do the teaching. There'll be prompt question, then the prospect will just have to answer it. All right? Of course, there are a few limitations, need a few lessons to complete, and then the person must believe in the Bible. So must establish, first of all, that the person believes in the Bible first, then you can then use this series to then teach from there. So this is how it looks like, the printed copy. There's also a soft copy, which is in here. If anybody needs this link, I can send to you after this. So you can just use the link to then guide you. There's nothing about 85 questions or something. It looks like a lot, but it's quite simple. So one example is like that. You just tell the prospect, okay, turn to 2 Peter 1 verse 3, let the prospect read it, and then there are prompt questions there. So yes or no, has God given us all things that pertain to life and godliness? Yes or no, if all has been provided, do you need additional revelation? So it prompts the reader and the teacher to answer this question as per the Bible. So it removes all opinion, goes back into the Bible, let the Bible teach for itself, and prompt the question and prompts understanding. So this will go all the way through until kind of end of the whole series. So this is how it looks like for this open Bible study. Has anybody used this before, method?
I have.
You have? And how do you feel? Is it effective?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It's another way of introducing.
That's correct.
Doesn't really get to the heart of it. But it's the end.
Correct.
Everything else.
Exactly correct. Exactly correct.
Depend on
Right, cool.
it's a good opening.
Yep. Right, cool. Thank you. Yes.
I was taught that way.
Okay. And how do you feel about going through this? Good.
So your doubt will be
Right, cool. Right, thank you. Thanks for sharing. All right, cool. All right, so this is another way we can use it as well. Okay, now I will show you 2 more. Sorry.
all these tools, things that you have actually established that you need to
Correct.
You have to get them to that stage.
Correct, exactly correct.
That they do believe in God. And that God is the God of the Bible.
Correct.
Before you even
That's correct. Correct. And that's why you have the World Video Bible School series or Proof of God video series that establishes the belief in the prospect to believe in God. So it really depends on how well the prospect understands about God, Bible authority. So when I go through in more detail in 2 weeks' time about the actual study, I'll kind of share what are the basic fundamentals the prospect need to have, and then the flow chart, then you guess where you can start jumping into different tools and methods to then address and give the knowledge. So it really depends on how well you know the prospect, how well the prospect knows about God. Does the prospect believe in the God of the Bible, believe other God? It's a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different things. But as mentioned, every tool has its drawbacks and strengths. You need to know how it works for the prospect. So like for this example, if the person doesn't believe in the Bible, there's no point going to this because you're just talking to the air. So you need to establish first of all the Bible. So I will talk about it more in detail, further down. So thank you for sharing. But this is, in many ways. Yes.
Basically, you have to assess.
That's correct.
Then you
Use the appropriate tools and the methods. Exactly correct. That's correct.
that will help.
That's correct. 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 At the end of the day, these are all aids, they're all tools. There's no one or wrong way. You can combine many different ways as well. So I think the whole idea is just to continue to establish the need, establish the interest, and then persist. So I'll talk about it more in the later lessons, but just food for thought for now. All right? Cool. Thank you. All right, I'll now move on. Time's catching up. So there's another series called Back to the Bible by Bobby Bates. I think Brother Han used it before, I believe. How do you feel about this series? Good. It's not too bad. It's actually I actually have a copy in my bag. If anybody wants, I can show you later. Basically, 3 main topics: authority, religion, church, and spiritual condition. It goes through quite in detail using the Bible and the topics, and then let the prospect then fill up and read and then go through. It's a very guided kind of series of lessons, and then it's a very simple tool to use essentially. So of course, using Bible as a tool once again. Of course, once again, limitation is the prospect must believe in the Bible. So you need to establish that first before going into this series. All right. So this is that. And I was doing research for this, sharing. The same author that did this understood that because there's a gap in terms of establishing, believing in the Bible and God, the author actually created a new series called Believe the Bible, and the author is by Rob White. So basically, it's kind of talking, about affirmation of God, Bible inspiration, and Christ. So for prospect who have no or doesn't believe in the Bible and God, this could be a first starter series first. It's also a 3-part material, and then after that, then go into Back to the Bible series. Unfortunately, as I was doing research, it's only available now in US only as a printed material. That's the only limitation for now, but you can always ship in materials and then start using. But this is as of now. That was I think a month ago when I did this. It's only available as hard copy for now in the US. So, but it could be a tool you can use potentially. Right. So this is a yes. Oh, we have it. Oh, thank you. I didn't know that. So we can then use it. Thank you so much. Brother Han, have you used this before? No.
Because this one is after you have been.
Oh, is that right?
Because the first series is where you live that you live,
Mm-hmm.
and this one is how to continue.
Yeah, because I was researching this when the author. Yeah, that's correct. Yep, correct. It's a kind of this. So what happened was this Rob compiled the materials from Brother Robbie. Yep. Yeah, second part. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because I was looking at the video that the person created. The idea was to create the belief in God and the Bible first for those who have no understanding. Then use that once they're established, then use bringing back to the Bible to continue the series. So different ways of doing things. All right, but this since you have the material available, can then take a look at it and see whether is it effective for your prospect moving forward. All right, cool. All right, so there are also other materials you can use. There's so many out there. As mentioned, World Video Bible School, JBS is also another quite sound collection of documents. We're actually using that for Saturday Bible study in different weeks. So we also use that as a material for videos perspective. You also can use Christian Korea, a lot of articles and materials in that as well. So these are sound websites you can use to, get the material that you need to then start sharing the gospel. Right? There are many other ways. Of course, feel free to share and talk about it. But just to summarize today, some of the personal ways you could evangelize is using correspondent courses, giving tracts, using Bible charts, using the videos, using open Bible study, back to the Bible, and also believe the Bible. And there are many other ways. These are some of the many tools available. There's not one size fits all. At the end of the day, you need to know your prospect, know what is effective, create the need, maintain the interest, and let the Bible do the teaching. And these are just aids to assist and facilitate in the process. Right? There's, and as we go into 2 lessons time, I'll go into more in-depth some potential ways to then structure that study. There's only one way, there's many other ways, but Brother Charlie has another way to approach it. This one way that also you can approach it. So there are many ways to approach how you can structure a Bible study lesson, right? Using all these resources that are already available. Okay? So I think maybe we've got about 5 minutes left. Maybe just as a thinking question for everyone, identify a prospect within that you know of and consider which method you would use that potentially might be effective for that prospect. And if anybody's comfortable, you can share. If not, just as a thinking point, think of someone in your community that, I want to reach out to. Which method may work, which method may not work. I have a thought. If anybody wants to share, happy for you to share in the next 5 minutes. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, podcast, yeah, correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Correct. So, but I think to challenge the podcast is you have to know which is sound first, vet through the material, making sure that it's biblically sound before you start sharing to your prospects. Yeah, same with anything actually. So all these materials we know are from sound brethren, so that's why I can recommend this way. But of course, any other additional materials you found on internet, make sure you go through with a fine tooth, making sure that it's biblically sound before using that material to then use as a tool. Right? It's anything that we do anyway, so that principle still stays. Okay, but thanks. Podcast would be a good way. Yes. Yes. Good. I can know that. Yeah. Clearly, I don't listen to podcasts, so clearly I don't know much. But yes. Mm-hmm.
Is yourself. Because if you come across Bible version, this, that, everything else, you've lost them.
Yep.
If you present, if people want to be in your vicinity, you've already got a connection. So you can work on that.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
I've got a cousin, and he's very Bible knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a humanist.
Mm-hmm.
We've had many lovely discussions. We've never had any anger, no, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But with it all, he's made my strength stronger.
Mm.
But I do agree with what they do, because he says we work here to help our fellow man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of virtually what it is.
Mm.
And I'm trying to say to him that there is more in the substance of us than just being alive and then we're dead, because that's what he believes in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's the heart of the heart for me to get across.
Yeah, correct.
But it's still nice that we can be different but still connect.
Mm.
And slowly and surely, maybe it will work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In a roundabout.
That's correct. That's correct.
But we've got to be the open to.
Correct. We need to be the source of Bible knowledge and the door to let Bible then teach from there. So I think that's always, at the end of the day, you need to maintain a connection. You can disagree with their opinion, but you don't have to be hateful about it or bashful about it. Because at the end of the day, you still want to maintain that connection, that relationship, Lord willing, in future. And that's why next week we're going to talk about the prospect themselves. There are different openings of how to, but I'll share a bit next week. But you need to understand the prospect and what works and what doesn't work for them. But at the end of the day, it's not our control. We're just a messenger. It's still up to the prospect and God to work through. And if the Lord wills, then the door might open. But it's not our responsibility to force the prospect to change. Yes. Mm.
So prompting is asking questions
Mm-hmm.
for them
Correct.
and not us force.
Correct.
I think that's
Mm.
no one wants to be forced.
Correct. Exactly right. That's correct. But we will seize the opportunity when it comes, and then here you go, and have a discussion from there.
I think it starts more.
Correct. Exactly correct. So yeah, so everyone can be a personal worker, just have to think of all these different ways to start doing it. Yes.
I think a lot for the outside world.
Mhm.
They're actually quite fearful of that.
Mm.
And it's something special that we can have. But we have the assurance that we're not fearful about life.
Mm.
And I think that is also a positive thing.
Mm.
I think I've thought about it.
Mm.
They all have thought about it, they just ignore.
Mhm.
And that's what
Yeah.
my encounter.
Yeah.
Or they just try to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is the key question that we have to thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or have thought about it.
Yep.
If we,
Mm.
right.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Cool. Any others? Oh, yes.
We used to do plenty of letterboxing.
Mm-hmm.
We write up a small article introducing ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and just letterbox places.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, we also been advertising to one of the papers who were issuing in such a lot of Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to get a half-page advertisement.
Mm.
And that advertisement from us would include an offer for a free Bible study,
Mm-hmm.
plus some videos,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 3 or 4, and on top of it, we have an article that we could write. Topics, Bible topics,
Mm-hmm.
and we've done that for many years.
Mm.
Many need replies for
Mm.
Bible studies.
Mm-hmm.
It's, yeah, quite amazing.
Yeah. There's something that the man can think about as well, whether this could be another means of evangelizing through the printed media. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. 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 Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So yeah. So I think feel free to give any ideas what tools you have used before. We could use. We could many ways. Yep. Oh, sorry. Please wait. Sorry.
So few things.
Yeah.
First off, as he said, it's more as far as evangelism. So I say most it's an optics game basically.
Mm-hmm.
Optics as much as you are the solver of it. So
Mm-hmm.
for example, as a girl, I see it as very heavy some teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one has to be not saying that they are inferior per se, but that there needs to be more emphasis on personal development because as well as pointed out, there's also the current culture. The current culture that's more that's existence and that's not existence.
Mm-hmm.
There, how to put this?
So you think they probably need more training how to start the conversation potentially? No?
But a certain level of pride, what that can do with it once first.
Mm-hmm.
Spirituality does not occur.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get into
Okay. So if I can try to understand what you're trying to say is there will be groups of people that will not be open to the
It's
Bible.
hard to evangelize now.
Okay, how do I evangelize?
Because
Okay.
of this, because of this liberal pride,
Mm-hmm.
you will basically.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so they just don't care.
Yep.
It's a problem. It's a
Mm-hmm.
problem for soul.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think Gia's opinion is that it's harder to evangelize now because of the worldly thinking and culture
Yes,
and concept.
Thanks.
Correct. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
learnedness is key. Learnedness.
Mm. Yep. But I think probably put in context as well, during the time of Christ, there were a lot of, scholars, and how Paul spoke against all the scholars in that time. So they also equally learned, equally worldly, but yet the Bible was so effective at that time. So yes, acknowledging that there will be challenges with different trends that's coming up, with all the different ideology, but I think we need to have that faith and trust in God. We do our part, let the Bible do its work, let God do his work, and we trust that the right heart will come, the right soil will appear, the seed will germinate, and then provide the results. And that's what we are here. We can worry about everything, absolutely, and we acknowledge that. But yes.
There's more choice. So choice in the sense that there's a number of ideas for you.
Oh yeah.
We are trying to see.
Yeah, we are information overload, absolutely. See,
It's
internet.
a house,
Yeah,
right? So
correct.
people can try.
Correct.
Not-
Absolutely.
And so I think the most crucial part is to, when I say learnedness, I mean not even on the skill, not even about the skill stuff, just the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Get the basics down. Because
Yep.
now we have an obsession with or the more esoteric stuff.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Right, cool. Yep, we're running out. Yep, sorry. Last comment before we run out of time, but yes.
Maybe I think you should like to concentrate on it's very practical because they're really other life person. And so maybe instead of just talking about tools, things like that, which actually we got plants. And if you want more, there's also plants, but there's no point having tools if there's nobody building those tools. Right? So just to give you a practical thing, like you actually have access to prospects in like this. Maybe the challenge is for you all to think how you are going to
Start. Open the door. Exactly correct.
you actually do that. Right? So it's right.
Yep.
Right?
Correct.
So each one of us should think how are we going to actually have somebody.
Correct.
How is it going to use any of these or whatever you think to actually do
Start.
it?
Exactly correct.
Yes.
Just start small. Essentially, just start small.
So, until you practice it, until you exercise it, the tools will be the tools. No point that you want.
Very cool.
So each one of us think how we actually want.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it has started.
Very cool. And Augustine, the last comment.
Yeah, so the thing is, we just have to let the Bible speak and do what we can. Each and every one of us must have close friends. And from the teaching, we have been oriented how to begin the conversation with someone close to you. Just believe, trust God, whether it attracts or whatever means you can use any of the tools, just reach the word of God people.
And I think
Yeah.
writing a lot of person says actually the most effective words actually from the Bible. So when you're studying all these tools, maybe they may give you a little bit. But then you actually have to open the book and read from the Bible.
Correct.
And let God's word actually work.
Yeah.
So you cannot be just using
Correct.
All these arguments.
Correct. Exactly correct.
You actually have to open and
That's correct. All right, cool. So I'm just mindful of time. We're really catching up very soon. But really thank you everyone for your contribution and discussion. Let's continue to have this more. And as we go through this series, Hopefully, this is just one of the many ways we can start. But the message is just do it, trust in God, and let God give the increase, essentially. So let's close now with a word of prayer.